just did all that talking. Thank you. Merci. So one, there are a couple things. Will you, if I come to Brussels, will you take me to that community?
Yes.
S'il vient à Bruxelles, est-ce que tu le ramènes à cette communauté?
S'il vient à Bruxelles, est-ce que tu vas le guider dans la communauté en question?
Ma maison est sa maison.
Be careful now. So I think that I appreciate it. Merci beaucoup. I think that the reality is what happened in Ferguson is everyday people, not professional organizers, said enough is enough. And until the people from those communities that you described make the decision that is enough, nothing moves. Right? And it's when those who are catching the most hell. Like what you just described in Brussels, it sounds like y'all are the niggas of Brussels. Right? That your existential and material conditions are the same existential material conditions of black people in America and of brown people in Gaza.
Yeah.
Right? So it's the same. So I'm not disagreeing with that. And the question, and the question before me on the question of violence is primarily a tactical question. While I hope nonviolence is a principle. Lucas, did you hear me? I've been burned.
I've been marveled.
Right? And so I believed in it. I believe in it. I'm talking about a tactical question. But the real question for me then is what kind of society are you going to set up? What does the community look like that you want to set up? And the way Ferguson people have been able to respond is that they've never bowed down. They've stayed in the street. They've been consistent in their organizing. The Ferguson's movement official position is militant nonviolent civil disobedience. That is what our position has been in Ferguson. I've done a lot of the training with others in militant nonviolent civil disobedience. It looks different than what you think it is. It looks a lot different. And in terms of, as a keen scholar, as someone who spends their time reading his rare documents, King talks about, particularly in Trumpet of Conscience, his last book, that he's more concerned about the conditions that create riots, not the riots. He's more concerned about why do young people attack property and not people? What does the property represent versus people? Right? And so there's a certain way, and we could have a longer conversation when I get there about King and about Malcolm. For all of that trash, all the militant rah-rah Malcolm talked about, he never engaged in a single act of violence himself. Never. In fact, the day Malcolm was killed, he refused to allow security searches because he did not want the people to be uncomfortable. And so for all of Malcolm's language about violence, he never engaged in any violence himself. And then secondly, the context is different. You can talk violence in the North in the 1950s and 60s. But in the South, where every force is organized against you, it's a very different conversation about violence. Now there is a group called the Deacons for Defense, who were part of the kind of armed wing of the civil rights movement, right? Who often provided security. But it's a lot more complicated than Malcolm and Martin. And so we can take some time to trouble that. We just don't have the time to do it now. We'll do it when I come see y'all. Jazakumullah, shukran wa salam.
So, I'm going to let the interpreters interpret, and then we're going to close it out. And I just want to say thank you.
Donc la situation à Ferguson, c'est que tous les jours,